Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
This is Amy Poehler. My new movie, Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2, is coming to theaters June 14th, and it's making me feel joy and sadness and anger, definitely some disgust, and I think a little fear.
Really?
But I'm also feeling these new emotions like anxiety, embarrassment, envy, and ennui.
It's what you call the boredom.
Okay, that one was weird. It's gonna be the feel everything movie of the summer. Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2, only in theaters June 14th. Get tickets now.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of No Waco. This is your host, Debbie. And welcome back to another episode of No Waco. I'm your host, Debbie, and today we have a very special guest here in the studio. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Well, hi, thanks for having me. I'm Joseph Hester. I'm the owner of Business Locksmith, and Business Locksmith is a small business improvement company.
Woo woo! You do all the consultations and business coaching and fun stuff.
Right, and so what we're trying to do is help small business owners grow because there's not a lot of resources out there that are one-on-one and in person, and so that's what I want to bring towards small business owners.
I love that. And one of the first questions I always ask our guests on the show is, what brought you to Waco, or are you Waco native?
No, not a Waco native. We moved out here at the end of 2020, so more towards September is when we moved into our house. But it was just a full process of elimination. I got out of the Army back in 2017. So I was at Fort Carson, Colorado. And so we were wanting to move, but we just didn't know where. And so through process of elimination,
Why Waco?
between the Carolinas and all like the East Coast, it was too much of a culture shock change to go through. So in Texas, we decided on. And so my son and I did a boys trip out here and went down towards what was Fort Hood. And we scoured that area, and it was nice, but wasn't quite in love with it. And then we came up here to Waco, and Waco had everything we wanted. Had all the shops that we're used to, had the ease to be able to move around town really nice, and it was really pretty. We got here it was summertime, so it was hot, but it was just really pretty here. All the trees, a little bit of wildlife, and it's really calm and quiet, and that's what we really kind of started falling in love with. And then I noticed there's just a big boom out here of small business owners. And I was like, this is what I love. This is kind of like the American dream almost, is the Waco area.
Oh, I don't think anybody's ever said that on the show, but I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's like the small town, but big city feels, which I feel like everybody knows. But just to know that we're booming and we're blossoming into something new is just so amazing to hear.
Right. And I mean, also they got the big manufacturers out here. There's that whole section of town where it's just big manufacturing. So if you're into that, you can do that. Otherwise, you can kind of do whatever you want out here. And it's kind of a really great location because we're in between Dallas and Austin. So we got a lot of traffic in and out. You got Baylor. So you have that whole culture, and you have Magnolia. You have that whole setup. So it's just a lot of different things that really are enjoyable.
I love that. And with that, what inspired you to become an entrepreneur yourself? What kind of came with that journey?
That was just in one night. It just came to me. All of my training in the military, my degree in business, I was just like, this is what I'm designed to do. This is why I haven't had success anywhere else, because I haven't been doing what I want to do and what I'm good at. And so what I'm good at, when I was in the Army, I did everything, I was lower enlisted, so I had to do all the work. And so we were always understaffed. And so I had to take the leadership role and then go out and conduct whatever it is that we had to do. And so I'm used to coming up with a plan and then go make it happen. And so I was like, I love that tempo. I love, starting from scratch and building our way up, or taking something over and improving it, making it the best that we can. And so that was just okay. I was like, I could do that as a business on my own, because my thing too is I got injured in the Army. And so I was like, I can't quite give a big corporation, my best 40, 60, 80 hours every week. You know, I got to go to the VA, I got to do my appointments and stuff like that and take care of my body. That's like my biggest like setback. But other than that, when I'm good to go, I can work all that I want. So it's like, okay, well, let's set a schedule for me that I can run through my business, and I can be able to take care of the business and myself, and then, you know, kind of just do the best I can.
Yeah.
So
I
that
love
I couldn't
that.
really get that anywhere else. Yeah.
So you have to be your own boss,
Gotta
right?
be your own boss.
And it's so funny to hear like other entrepreneurs' journeys of like how they became employed for themselves. And I feel like your story really resonates with other people who either feel the same way, or whether it is from an injury or past work experiences, or really just a love for what they're doing, they want to grow in that. With that, how did you end up with Business Locksmith as the name?
Yeah. So, you know, that first night where I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So, okay, well, what's the name of the company going to be?
Mhm.
And so I ran through so many ideas, and Locksmith was a really good set because, you know, I'm going to unlock. You know, if you're locked out of your car, what do you
Mhm.
want? You want someone to come in and unlock the door so you can gain
Mhm.
access back into your vehicle. So same thing, I see locks as problems. So some business owners, you know, might be locked out of something. They just don't know how to gain access to that next step, or, you know, maybe that next idea. So that's where I come in. I come in, we'll figure it out. We'll put a plan together. I'll share my experience, and hopefully we can get you past that locked access point,
Mhm.
get you on the other side. And I'm not just going to leave you at the door. I'm going to walk in with you and be, okay, what do you see? What do you want? What do you want to get done? You know, and so that's the thing about me, is I want to be side by side with the business owner as much as I can, or however much they want me. And like, I won't leave your side unless you don't want me there anymore.
Yeah.
And like, you want me there, you want to go run 100 miles an hour, we'll go. But, you know, I don't want to just open the door and be like, all right, best of luck, see you next
Yeah.
time. You know, I want you to take this journey, so that way, if you have any questions, once you get to that next level, that next side, I can be there for you and then
love
guide
that.
you. Because a lot of business owners, I mean, how many businesses do they run? Usually just the one, at best maybe two.
Mhm.
So it's like, you know, if you're going through it for the first time, you kind of want someone there that you can trust and count on, and
Yeah.
that's what I want to be.
I love that. And that's so important, like, especially when you are a smaller business starting out. What is some advice you would give to someone who's wanting to start their own company?
It's not as easy as the successful people may make it sound. It's
Oh,
going to be a
okay.
lot of hard work.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of, you have to be dedicated to it. You have to be focused on it for at least, you know, depending on what you do, but maybe like first 5 years.
Yeah.
Those first 5 years, you know, a lot of businesses, they say fail within the first 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot, you know, there's a lot of reasons on why that could happen. But, you know, once you make it past 5 and you're making profit and you're growing, that's the part you're really trying to get to. So that's probably a lot of growing pains for these business owners. And so if we can kind of knock off a lot of those growing pains and just kind of hop right into the place that they want to be, that's the better route to take.
I love that. And what would you say your mission is overall?
Just to help small business owners. If I can help small business owners grow, they become more successful. Maybe they get to hire on more people locally, and then that helps the community. And then maybe they can give back to the community. Sometimes, you know, some business owners have like a second purpose, a second reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they might be big sports fans, or they might be, you know, big into giving back to this charity or that. If their business can get more profits, and then they can take those profits and then give them back into the community, you grow the community.
Yeah.
So, you know, the parks will be better, or, you know, the police department will do better, or, you know, the sports teams, or whatever their second passion is that
Yeah.
goes along with the business. If you can do both and both grow, then that's just a better outcome.
I love that. And with that, you know, it sounds like you have like so much experience behind it and like growing, and especially helping other people grow. It's January. People are wanting to get things started, want to get things going. What would you say is like a motivator or like a resolution, if you will, for getting your business going and getting it started and really just kicking that off?
For the month of January, my biggest recommendation would be, this is, if it's your downtime, if this is when it's slow, best time to either organize or to clean.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not getting a lot of business in, or great time for training. Get ready for the next year coming up. Maybe like, oh, we've had issues with this or that. This is a great time to start training, because guess what? If business is going to pick back up. Are you going to be ready for it? Are you going to do the same thing you did last year, or need to improve? And so I'm always a big thing, always improve, you know, because that just helps you overall just so well. So,
Yeah.
you know, if it is slow right now, take advantage. If it is going to be slow, you got to start, okay, do you want more customers in now? Are you marketing at all? Advertising? Anyone know you're here? Everyone think you're closed? Like, it depends on a lot of also what your service is.
Yeah.
Some services, can be a day-to-day function like restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
You can serve your food every day. But if you're more of a hands-on creator and maybe your window of opportunity is about 3 months before you can turn around a product, you have to build up your crowd and be able to have that feed so that we can have those 3 months build on top of each other, and then you're busy for the next 2 years or whatever it
Wow.
might be.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what your service is, what your windows are, and all those things. So that's what we would talk about during like the consultation when someone brings me on.
Yeah. And with that, what are some of your personal goals upcoming for 2024?
Just definitely applying myself more. Now that I've really found myself and honed in on my services and what I can provide, I want to be able to, just at least tell everyone about them. And then if they're interested, great. But this is the year I want to start applying myself to what I need to so that way I can grow my company.
Yeah. And again, you got to do what's best for you.
Right.
And it sometimes just happens that way. What do you think is like overall one of your biggest goals, or like what are you looking forward to most with your company?
I mean, really for me, every day is just awesome. Every day.
I love that motto.
Every day
is awesome.
I just get to enjoy. This is part of my dream. If
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm not at the highest peak of success yet.
Mhm.
I'm not making a whole bunch of money, but realistically, this is what I want to do. I was at a shout out to Waco Ale,
Whoop, whoop.
and they had 2 gentlemen in from Washington and Oregon. They were
Wow.
the gentlemen that had farms that grew hops that they bought from.
Wow.
Today, I was there and I got to hear it all.
That's so cool.
That's an experience. And I was like, hey, let me know if I ever come out to the farm and just
Yeah.
see you guys go work and make this happen.
That'd be cool.
And so it's just like, there's so much great opportunity and so much stories all around.
Mhm.
And so that's what I kind of like to find out. It's like, I may not ever do business with them, but just knowing that they're there, they're doing their job, and then the brewery here is using their supplies. Like, to me, that's the big circle that I like to be a part of.
I
Is
love that.
also, depending on the company, it's like, how much local support can you have
Mhm.
in Waco? Whatever your product is or service is, how tightly knit can you pack it in here so that way you just keep growing, the area that you live in.
Yeah.
And so that, because I guess, it's cheaper to buy some products from the big companies and all that. And I totally get that. And I understand it's a smart move.
Mhm.
If money is your kind of like that thing you got the eye on, your
Mhm.
focus. And so, but once you kind of get past that, like, okay, can I then support a local business with the supplies I need or the service that I need? And then you just keep it growing and everything just gets a little bit better.
Yeah, I love that. Well, with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break and then we'll be right back.
Awesome.
And now for a word from our sponsors. And now, back to the episode. All right, and we're back. So we're just talking about some of your overall goals, what really inspires you, brings you together in your business, and how you connect with our community. One of the first questions I love to ask when we get back from break is, what would you like to see more of in Waco?
More of in Waco. I mean, we have a lot, but I think I want to see the community interact more with these companies. I think there is a little bit of a gap. I mean, Waco's huge. Like, I don't even know what the square mileage is of Waco, but I just feel like there's not enough people kind of saying this is what's available in Waco,
Mhm.
because there's so much, and it's hard, especially for business owners, to get the word out, although
Mhm.
there's a lot of great ways to do it. But it's coming and going and changing, and I just think everyone kind of gets a little bit lost on what's available here. What can we do in Waco?
Mhm.
Especially, for tourists, how do tourists know what's available in Waco?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you could try to take a gamble and drive around, but like I said, Waco's big. Not saying you can get lost, but you can definitely spend a half hour to an hour driving around, and you may not
Mhm.
really get into the spots that you want to get into.
Yeah.
If depending on like what you want to see. You want to do fun park stuff, you go by the river and you can have the greatest time walking up and down the river. but it's just like, it's kind of hard to know what's where.
Yeah.
So I would love to see the kind of like that kind of mindset or that clarity for Waco to know, okay, this is here, this is there. If you want to have good time for here, this time. And I think that would just be really, really great to see more of the community, because a lot of companies I hear is like, oh, we're relying on the students from Baylor. That's just kind of like, okay, if they're only going to be here for maybe
Like, that's
3
all
months,
yeah.
3 months and then a break and then 3 months, like there's still everyone that lives here that
Mhm.
you could call upon to come out to wherever your service is or whatever it is. So it's like, I think, bringing Waco aware of the businesses that are out here would be a
Yeah.
really, really great thing to see.
Yeah. And I mean, with you having, in quotation marks, an outsider's perspective and getting to see the growth in Waco over these past few years, what do you think is something that you've really been able to see flourish? I know you talked about where we can improve, but what is something you love about Waco?
I love being able to drive around with ease. I mean,
No traffic?
yeah, that's a rarity. I spent almost 8 years in Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
in Colorado Springs area, and you can't move without at least another 10,000 people being right next to
Yeah.
you. So out here, there's a nice freeway system. You can drive around. If this is too busy, you just hop over 2 or 3 streets and you can catch something else that will get you there, maybe at worst like 4 or 5 minutes slower. So just being able to drive around here is just super enjoyable.
I love that. And I mean, Waco isn't necessarily the most walkable community, but it's
No.
always great to hear that like people can actually like get to places and know where to go. And like, though it can both be a challenge and something that people are looking forward to.
Right.
So hopefully we can improve on that too, making our city more walkable.
That'd be nice. Bikes, walking, all that good stuff. Yeah.
And I know you mentioned the park. So like having Cameron Park here, like I think it's like the second largest landmass, second to only Central Park in New York.
Really.
Which we're here in Waco. It's crazy to think about, like where other people bring in all their experiences and then they get to be here and to hear that, oh, our park is second to Central Park. It's like, oh, we're fancy.
Yeah,
But
I didn't know that. Yeah.
again, it's crazy how our community can grow and learn these things and just continue to blossom. With that, obviously Waco is slowly growing. What are some of the ways that you think you can put back into the community? I know you talked about like building businesses up to give back. What is the way you want to give back?
So, I'm simple. In the military, we did a thing we call police call. And that's where you just go out and pick up trash.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, same thing. I know everyone's busy. I know everyone enjoys their downtime. But for me, I want to start making it more of a challenge. At least once a week, go out. And I did this last year, the year before. Go out, just pick up trash.
Yeah.
And hopefully it doesn't always get dirty all the time. Hopefully if you do one street 1 week, hopefully it's good
Yeah.
for at least, another 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be that dirty all the time. But just, pick up the trash, pick up the leaves if need be. And then like the sand that comes off the houses and then
Yeah.
clogs up the gutters, just clean all that out. I just want to just, clean up and try to, help, especially, out where I live in Hewitt, and it's a little bit of an older community. And so, they don't have the time or effort to take care of themselves. And so like, for me, it's like, oh, it'd be great just to give back.
I love
Like small
that.
project, nothing too crazy, but just something to help keep it going. Because, if people can't improve their homes, and it'll just only get worse and worse until it's just like a super problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to like prevent that,
I love that.
And so, I would love to do some like community events and stuff like that, but I kind of need funding or stuff like that too.
Hey, you gotta
I
have
could
the
do
money
as much
to
as I
live
can
a
for
kid.
free, but there's a,
Yeah.
funding would also help.
Hey, I love that. And it's amazing. And again, you are so involved in the community. And like me and you met with like startup involved.
Right.
And it sounds like you've been involved with the community. Is there anybody that you want to shout out that's helped you along the journey? Or
Definitely the Greater Hewitt Chambers.
Mhm.
I joined them. I'm working on my second year, so a
Wow.
little over a year, but I've just been with them, and they have a whole bunch of ribbon cuttings. They have a whole bunch of after hours luncheons and stuff like that. And I've almost done as much as I could last year, and I would continue to do that.
Mhm.
And so I want to also now that I know, like, okay, now I see everything, I kind of like, okay, I want to be able to
Mhm.
maybe do one of these things more often or something like that. But yeah, definitely the Hewitt Chambers has been really great to me. Everyone down there is super nice, and you just get to network and talk and meet great people. And so they've been really supportive. And then also the Nacho Daddy car show is coming up.
Ooh.
I don't know if there's an official date yet, but that's coming back up, and that's a great car show they put on during, I think it'll be like early summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I helped with that last year. I'm going to help again with this year. And so
Wow.
that's one of my big shows that I help
Yes.
with, was that.
And I don't know if you want to preview it yet, but you also have a podcast starting.
It is starting. It's coming. I'm sure they'll get me here soon enough.
Mike will fight you.
Yes. But yeah,
Mike's our
the Business
producer.
Locksmith podcast, it's going to be starting up, and I'll just be interviewing business owners and then also community
I'll be on the other
leaders.
side.
You will.
We'll flip-flop.
Absolutely. And that'll be a little bit more of like the story about, similar to this, but just like I want to hear a little bit more about the backstory, and I want to hear a little bit more of like, what are the struggles? What are the things that have been challenging? Because if we don't air those things out, we don't know how to really learn from them, and so it just like, we learn from them, we get it out like, oh, okay. And then sometimes people will try to help you with it. And that's the part too, is like, okay, if you're struggling, sometimes the hardest thing is just to ask for help.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people
I was going to
put
say, as
that
a
off.
business owner, that's the hardest part.
It is, but and you're surprised by when
Yeah.
you do it, and then you get that answer that you've been waiting for, and it's just like,
It's just someone else had it figured out before you.
just waiting on you to ask.
Or what is it? Standing on the backs of giants. Like, you got to build on top of each other. And that's part of community. And that's why it's so important to have these types of conversations where it's like, you're an entrepreneur, you're doing something for our community. How can we get the word out? And how can we help you help others?
Yeah.
So
Like, I haven't met anyone that doesn't want to help.
Yeah.
But the hard thing too is, if you're a business owner, you're running your business. So when do you have time to help other business
It's
owners?
true.
So my thing is I'm trying to dedicate myself to be that role and be available. So even if I run across something that's, I need more experience on, I've got no problems either learning it on my own or asking the people that are in that industry.
I
to
love
be like,
that.
hey, what's the easiest way to get around this? You
Yeah.
know? And then might get lucky, might get the right answer, or I might have to go do hard work and learn it myself,
Yeah.
and then I just go report back to the owner, and then we
Makes
go
it
from there.
easy.
Yeah.
And again, that just goes on with like shared experiences and being able to take those experiences from other places in the world and bringing them here to Waco. Why do you think it's so important? You're here in Waco right now.
I think this is how it's just meant to be.
It's meant to be.
Yeah. Like literally, this has just been, everything's just been a beautiful experience, and I've just been enjoying it. And so I just want to keep it going and just do better at it
Yeah.
and be able to show. And like the other thing about me too is, I'm a disabled veteran. And so, after the military, you kind of get dropped back into like the real world again. And I kind of want to be like an inspiration to like my veterans that are, either on the way of getting out of the military or already out. It's like, don't limit yourself. Like we, like in the military, have done so much that not a lot of people understand, but we can apply ourselves in a great way. And so to me, it's like, don't give up. Go out there and whatever that thing that you love to do, you can go do that and make money off of it and make it a business if you want to, or join a business that already does it.
Yeah.
And I don't recommend to everybody go open a business, because
Hey,
it is
everybody go
a
start a
lot of
business.
work, but you can definitely.
That's why we hire you.
Right. But it's just definitely like, go be a part of that thing that makes you happy.
Yeah.
That gives you like the best time ever. And surprisingly, you'd be surprised you can make money off of those great things that you love.
I love that. And again, that's just an inspirational message that other people can take and use to grow,
Right.
which is what you're here for.
That's what I'm here for.
So that's why you ended up here in Waco. It was just because
Exactly.
it was meant to be.
And now, like, because I'm not a big city person, so like Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, like I can't do that. Like I got a great buddy who lives out there in Houston, and I'm
Other
like, I
people
don't know
say
how
that.
you do it. Like he drives around like
Like,
it's
I
nothing.
couldn't do it.
I'm like, there's no room
They got
for
like the
nothing.
9-way highway. I'm like terrified to get on.
Yeah, I don't do well. Like I do well, like nice and open, easy going, sure. But once we get into like, especially a place I've never been before, and it's just crowded as can be, I'm like, I don't do this. I don't do this. Yeah.
Hey, and again, you're not the only person that said that. So again, that's why we're lucky, because we have the big city vibe, but small town feel.
Right.
So that's what makes us special.
That's why we're Waco.
That's why we're Waco.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. With that, of course, give us all your social media, where to find you, find more information about you, all the things.
So Facebook and Instagram, it's Business Locksmith LLC. And then if you want to go to the website, it's business-locksmith.com. And if you want to email me, it's at unlock@business-locksmith.com.
All right, perfect. And now it's time for your soapbox moment. What do you want to tell the people? What do you want to tell our listeners today?
Definitely get out and enjoy what Waco has to offer. If you're into restaurants, go explore. I mean, there's so many good restaurants that have just started opening up. I haven't even gotten to yet, but there's great restaurants out here. If you're into, your wines or your beers, there's great breweries and wineries out here. even like actual like wineries just a little bit south of Waco. There's some out there. But it's
Boundless
like
Vineyards, yeah.
it's like whatever you truly enjoy. I'm pretty sure Waco has.
I
If you're
love
into guns, we got like 3 or 4 gun ranges out
Yeah.
here.
Texas
If you're
Republic.
into art, I know a place.
Cultivate 712.
There we go.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. And I mean, but just if you like to be outside, if you like to hike, if you like to walk, whatever it is,
Mhm.
like Waco has it. I don't know. Top Golf, like
Mhm.
Top Golf and quote unquote, be a small town?
Yeah.
Like,
Ours is a small Top Golf, though.
but I mean, it's a nice one though. I got the movie theaters,
Uh-huh.
main event, all those things. Like everything you want is pretty much out here. And it's
Yeah.
just fun to be able to have all these great activities to go do. And so definitely go out and explore Waco and support small businesses.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure having you on.
Oh, thank you. It's been awesome.
Find us everywhere on all social media platforms, KNOW_Waco. Check us out at roguemedianetwork.com, and we're on YouTube under Rogue Media Network. Check out nowaco.com.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.